Good morning, I'm William Dorset. This is Good Morning Antigua Barbuda for the day, the 21st day of April 2011. Hope so far you're having a wonderful Thursday morning. Now it's time for us to speak to Natalia Lawrence and Junior Prosper. Natalia here is the coordinator for the Environmental Awareness Group, and Junior Prosper, member and avid birder for the, of course, working along with the Environmental Awareness Group as well. We're going to be discussing the ecological habits on offshore islands for the season. We'll get to talk a little about birding and how the animals are affected with the season change and breeding and all the different details. Natalia is going to be here with Junior to share with us all those details. Good morning to you both. Natalia?
Good morning.
How are you feeling today?
Oh, good.
Good.
Good morning.
Junior, what's up, my man?
I'm quiet.
You're quiet? All right, good. Well, the importance of good ecological habits while being on the offshore islands to make sure we preserve the delicate ecosystems that are there. Talk about that a little bit, Natalia, for us.
Okay, well, we're having a long weekend this weekend. So the offshore islands are basically a last refuge for some of our endemic species of birds and some of our reptiles as well. We have snakes, we have birds and crabs and so on. Even some of the plants that we used to find in Antigua are now only found in the offshore islands. So what we're trying to do is that we adopted the phrase eco-etiquette. So while people are enjoying the islands, we want them to leave it as they met it so other persons can come and enjoy it as well. Okay,
a good point there to maintain also the cycle of life in terms of the ecosystems that we need to maintain and preserve, because as you know, they're always depleting. Breeding for birds, is now the season for them?
Well, now we're starting off. We have a lot of tropic birds. We take students out to the offshore islands. So we've been watching brown pelicans as well. They're beautiful.
Brown pelicans?
Brown pelicans, yes. And they're in their breeding plumage. So it's really, beautiful sight to behold. And we also have frigate birds over on the offshore islands that are breeding right now.
Okay. Now, in terms of the wildlife, what can one expect to find on the offshore islands, Prosper?
Well, the key thing, apart from the birds which were mentioned, is the Antigua racist snake. Everything evolved around the whole conservation and protection of the Antigua racist snake. We also have some lizards, one or two that are endemic, found only in Antigua. We have crabs. There's certain types of scorpions that are there. Plants, which Natalia mentioned, that we are finding them only on the offshore islands now. We're not seeing them on the mainland. And I must mention the marine part of it, because a lot of the seabirds that come through and visit these islands depend a lot on the fish stock that is there. So even though we are not fully into marine resources in terms of actually identifying what fishes are around the offshore and around Antigua in general, that's a project down the line. Okay. So those are some of the wildlife that we find around the islands.
Okay. Natalia, the activities that can jeopardize the survival of the floral and fauna of the islands in terms of the plant life, the animal life, how can we really preserve that?
Okay, well, a lot of times we do things and we don't realize the negative consequences that happen because of our actions. So we visit the islands and we want to camp or hang out. We cut down trees. Basically, the plants and animals, the animals are facing loss of habitat. So cutting down trees or cutting paths, clearing paths that had not existed before poses a threat where the animals lose their homes, their nests. Some of the birds have traveled thousands and thousands of miles to come down here to nest. And imagine we chop down a tree, not really knowing the significance of the tree. And then the poor bird that traveled for so long, built its nest, laid its, had its eggs and so on. The nest falls and the eggs break and, things like that. Also, campers can leave fires unattended, and that the islands are small, so imagine if a fire gets out of control and burns down, the plants and animals that are there.
Let's hang a little bit onto the bird side of things. When I was a little boy, in Anguilla, we used to have a tree in our yard, and every so often there will be a nest, and I will always peek inside to see exactly what's happening on the inside there. Is it okay when we spot a nest to look inside the nest?
It's not necessarily okay, especially if you're an amateur. You don't know how stable the nest is, so trying to peek inside, it may fall and an egg may break. Or you may disturb a mother. She knows when she can fly off a nest. We disturbing her if the eggs are exposed to the sun for an undetermined, we don't really know the time, but if the eggs are exposed to the sun, they may not hatch.
Okay.
And then young chicks do not have plumage to protect them, so if they're exposed directly to the sun, they also die. So
Okay.
very important to note that.
All right. Regarding the nesting birds, is it, as you would have mentioned, sometimes they're, depending on the human interaction, they may fall and of course be destroyed. Do some birds nest on the ground?
Yes.
What kind of birds are that?
Some doves, quail doves.
Okay.
So I can talk about Great Bird Island because I've had that experience, and even on Antigua, you walk through fields. In Great Bird Island, we divide it into 3 parts: the forest, the savanna, and the ridge. In the savanna is just a lot of grass. There's one path there, but even when you're walking through the path, you notice birds flying up, and they're flying up from their nest. So if you deviate from that path and go into the grass, you could be trampling on their nest.
Oh, okay.
And just added to that, a lot of the seabirds also nest on the ground. And if you, in the early morning, you'll hear the laughing gulls passing. Those are birds that make a lot of noise. So we have the laughing gulls. We know for sure the sooty terns are on the way. We're just out with some people that came on a cruise boat, the Fred Olson boat, and he said 75 miles off Antigua, he saw well over 3,000 in a flock of sooty terns and bridal terns on the water resting. So we know that it's just a matter of time before they reach. And we have the royal tern, rosette tern. Natalia mentioned the pelican and the tropic bird. We also have the brown noddies and the black noddies that are critically endangered around the world. They actually nest here in Antigua at this time.
Now, you just mentioned Antigua, but we're really focusing on the offshore islands, mainly the North Sound area we're looking at. But how important should we be safeguarding? Is it just only the offshore islands, or do we need to safeguard the mainland as well?
Oh, we need to safeguard the mainland. The beaches are going to be crowded. So we want everybody to know, when you're at the beach, when you're in natural vegetation, just be aware of your surroundings. Remember how it looks and try to leave it as you met it.
Okay. I don't know who's going to take this one. This one is a beauty question. What activities can negatively affect the natural beauty of an island?
Well, Natalia, know that.
Okay, pollution. A lot of people, we like to have fun and then we leave it. We think somebody else, I don't know who's going to come and clean up after us. So even on the offshore islands, well, worse than the offshore islands when we don't have a regular garbage truck going over there to take up things, we notice that some people are kind enough to collect their garbage and then leave it on the island in a bag. So it doesn't really, it takes away from the beauty. Also, barbecuing is a problem, whereas the coals that fall from the grill gets into the sand and it's not cleaned up. So if we keep doing that, that causes irreparable damage to our beautiful white sand beaches. Then the caps, the bottle caps, people don't regard bottle caps as litter. So if you take a look on the sand, on the mainland, on the offshore islands, you see like a lot of bottle caps there. And then it's surprising as well, birds mistake caps for food, pick it up, take it to their chicks. You open their chicks and they're full of bottle caps. And we're not really aware of this. Another thing that really is touchy, you're on the islands, no facilities and nature may call. So, you use the bush. But think about the other person that is discovering different nooks and so on the island and may stumble across you're
what
leaving.
You've left.
Right, exactly. So, we just ask that you, dig a hole. What about after you've left it and the toilet tissue gets dry and then flies off, and then I come after you and I'm greeted by tissue in my face and I have no idea
what happened on that.
Exactly.
All right, so we got to make sure that what we use, we either bury it or
yes, please
keep it under control.
And this time is critical time because through the years we realize it is at Easter that we have a lot of people going to the island, especially locals. Go to the island to stay the weekend. Light fires, some of them get out of control. They carry over the pallets for wood and they leave them there. Serious problems. And even though we're talking about birds, remember that we also have the impact of the snakes. The cold, Natalia, sometimes they don't try to out them, so the snakes get burnt. the problem with the birds and just the vegetation. There's some issues, especially at this time of the year.
You guys are here from the Environmental Awareness Group, but is there anyone else doing any concise conservation on these islands?
Well, the Offshore Islands Conservation Program is it's manned by six organizations.
Okay.
So the Environmental Awareness Group is a partner, and we also have the government of Antigua and Barbuda, specifically the Ministry of Agriculture. Then there are international organizations like the Jewel Wildlife Conservation Trust, Flora and Fauna International, Black Hills State University, and Island Resources Foundation. But additionally to that, we get a lot of support from the tour operators and the Seaton's community. We get fishermen out there who take us out, especially one, Aldrich Nicholas.
He has a speedboat?
He has a fishing boat. But he's very faithful and a very able fisherman. Yes. So.
Good.
And we also, even because of the work that we've been doing, the success that we've been having, we've gotten support from international funders. Like right now, we just got a very competitive grant from the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Services, and we also get help from the BBC and Disney.
Okay, good. Junior Prosper, just knowing that you're an avid birder, from the list of birds that you would have mentioned there, which one, of course, would be your favorite to observe?
Birds don't have favorite.
No, I'm saying the ones that you're looking at when you watch them. Which one is your favorite?
I am really impressed by the brown noddy. I just think they just look nice with the brown and the black, the white on the head.
Okay.
They just look graceful in flight. So when I'm out there, that's the bird that I'm really into while I'm there.
Okay, good.
Also, I must mention too that even though we talk about that, and you asked what interest, my real interest is the West Indian whistling ducks.
Okay.
And those ducks breed on that island, and they're around the Caribbean. After Antigua, we don't find them going south of the Caribbean, but most of the work that I've done have been with the West Indian whistling duck. And if anybody sees them anywhere and know them, please give me a call so I can come have a look at them.
Wonderful. Persons that may want to help in the conservation efforts on the island, the mainland or offshore, how can they contact the environmental group?
Okay, we have an email, eag@candiwag.
Okay.
You can also call us at 462-6236.
All right.
And we always need volunteers, always ask for volunteers. So if you're willing to help, just please contact us. And if you see anybody doing something that you know is not environmentally friendly, don't be afraid to approach them, because it may just be the case that they are not aware.
Okay, and information, of course, is a good asset to change our lives and help us improve the way we live. Thank you guys for coming in this morning, and continue to watch those birds, man.
Thank you, sir. I will try.
All right, we'll be speaking to Junior Prosper and Natalia Lawrence from the Environment Awareness Group, and they, of course, is doing what they can to educate us so we can improve our ecological habits on the offshore islands for this holiday season, as of course, lots of animals will be doing their breeding on the offshore islands and even on the mainland. I'm William Dorset. We'll be right back. We've got some entertainment in house. We've got Ambassador Stitchy in house. He will be telling us what he's here for, his purpose, and of course he will do some singing for us right here on our Good Morning Antigua Barbuda. In just a moment, we'll be right back.